A hard-hitting message hit travellers outside King's Cross Station today, as the reality of UK involvement in Gaza hit home with a graphic demonstration of what now appears to be daily life for a beleaguered and war-torn Palestinian people. Collectively known as Grieving for Gaza, this modest group of women silently but surely made their point. I spoke with Teresa Thornhill, writer and child protection lawyer with a special interest in the Middle East, who gave IFN Media this statement.
My name's Teresa Thornhill. I'm from a group called Grieving for Gaza. We set up in February 2024, a bunch of women, mostly in our 60s and 70s, who just could not bear to see the killing, particularly of civilians in Gaza, following or born out of the Israeli response to the October the 7th atrocities. We felt that going on the London marches was a good thing to do, but it wasn't enough. And we hoped that by producing something that would get people to stop in their tracks in the street and look at some information which we have set out on the banner, but also look at a visual expression of what it's like to be in Gaza, that would reach people through their hearts in a way that shouting as you march down Whitehall doesn't really achieve. The marches, I mean, they're great, and they were very, very large for a long time, but they're on Saturdays, they're in political areas of London where there aren't many passers-by. We want to reach the hearts of the British people and Londoners, whether or not they're British. And we find that we get an amazing response. We get a small amount of abuse, probably 5% abuse, 95% people coming up to us, thanking us, occasionally people in tears, people saying, oh, you know, I didn't know anybody cared about this. Particularly Muslims tend to feel that they're alone with it and that the average Londoner doesn't care, and it seems to mean a lot to people to see that actually we do care very deeply about it. We also would like to mobilise more people. We feel that what is badly needed is a high level of pressure on this government, which, like its predecessor, is so adamant that they want to preserve their commercial ties with Israel at all costs, and they're willing to turn a blind eye to breaches of international humanitarian law because of that. I'm a lawyer, and I'm of the same generation as Keir Starmer, and I feel personally offended that, having been a human rights lawyer, he has now twisted words to say genocide. What genocide? I mean, it's clearly a genocide. The law is so clear. The Genocide Convention of 1951 is probably the clearest bit of legislation I've ever looked at in my 35-year career as a lawyer. And there's no doubt at all, and I think all sensible legal scholars agree with this now, what is being committed is genocide. And it continues because the conditions of life in Gaza, even during the ceasefire, were such that babies were dying of hypothermia, children were dying from totally preventable diseases, and people were dying of their war injuries because there was no medical care, because the Israelis have destroyed all the medical infrastructure. The first tableau we did for about the first 10 months or so was actually a corpse with people grieving around the corpse. It was saying, what is it like to have your home bombed and find that one of your relatives is dead? We're now today, and for the last few months, have been doing a tableau which is about the deliberate targeting by Israel of healthcare workers. So that's medics, nurses, auxiliaries, everybody who works, ambulance drivers, everybody who works in the healthcare services, and the targeting of journalists. And the figures are utterly shocking. And of course, most people will remember, because this is something that has been quite well publicised, in the last week or 8 days, 15 Red Cross workers were lured into an ambush by the IDF, killed gratuitously, and buried with their vehicles in a shallow grave. And it's only because one of the people on the scene took a video of it, and that video survived and got into the right hands, that Israel's lies about what they were doing have been exposed. So although they weren't exactly healthcare workers, we consider rescue workers also to be amongst the people. We would like the public to make more of a fuss than they are doing. We feel that an awful lot of the public are extremely disgusted by the fact that our government is still selling arms to Israel, and the fact that it won't criticise Israel openly. But not enough people are writing to their MPs, joining the boycott, divest and sanctions campaign, which is extremely important, taking part in protests of whatever kind. And we would like more people to get up and make a big fuss about this, because we feel, Britain has a terrible history in the Middle East. We're pretty much responsible for the establishment of the State of Israel in the first place, but we don't have to be complicit in its outrages now. And by continuing to sell weapons and by the government remaining silent, we are complicit. We also very much want the government to declare recognition of the State of Palestine and to join South Africa and the various other countries in their action at the International Court of Justice to establish legally that Israel is committing genocide.